guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over a story that's quite entertaining and you guys are definitely going to get a laugh out of. Titled, Am I the a-hole for booking my fiancé trip and taking all my stuff and leaving while she was away? And big shout out to Ash for sending me this story. And guys, this is about a guy, he is 26 years old, engaged, as his fiancé is also 26 as well. Sounds like he met her early 20s, 23, 24. And you're going to see here, like so many stories, he rushed into a relationship with her, big time, without really getting to know who she is, her character, and all that. Probably because she's hot, right? Which a lot of young guys get themselves into trouble doing with that mindset. Anyhow, they're living together after 3 months. Smack. And lo and behold, one day she announces that she's pregnant. Of course, she has no reason to doubt this child is not his. And then, just like so many guys, gets down on one knee and proposes. The child's born. He's a daddy. And then certain events occur that has him start to think, maybe this child is not mine. Maybe I really can't trust her. And one thing leads to another, and he finds concrete proof that this child is not his. And then he comes up with an idea to get rid of her, and obviously not have to deal with her and the child that's not his, etc., etc. And it's definitely quite creative and entertaining, and you guys will get a laugh. But of course, he's wondering, am I the a-hole? Because as you can imagine, he is getting some heat from people. They're not liking his actions here. But anyhow, guys, without getting more into it, I will go through the story and we'll go from there. So he starts off, he says, my fiancé, a 26-year-old female, and I, a 26-year-old male, got engaged about 10 months ago. Everything was pretty much very enjoyable. I met her at a coffee/workspace area, and we hit off right away, and we're moving pretty quick. And so 3 months in, I let her move in with me. Smack! 3 months after dating, he's letting her move in with him. The only way you have a gal move in with you is if you've been with her for a long time and you're planning on marrying her. Not that I agree with that, but with the marriage thing, but that's the only reason why, is a final test drive, if you will, to see what she's like. But even then, they can put on an act. So even that is no guarantee. But 3 months just after dating, you out of your mind? He says here, I let her move in with me because she was having troubles with her stepdad and struggling financially. Admittedly, a poor move now that I look back. Struggling financially, meaning she's bad with money. There's another sign for you where you don't get involved with a woman, get serious with her. You want a woman that actually is good with money, or at least, not as bad with money, because let's be honest, most women tend to be big spenders compared to some that save. I know some women that are actually very good savers and like investing their money, which is cool, but the ratio of women that are that way compared to guys is night and day. About a year goes by, and we're the happiest we've been, and then she tells me that she's pregnant. This caught me off guard, but she was so excited to be a mom, I decided to propose not long after. Here's a question. Were you going to propose to her anyway? I mean, if you were going to propose to her anyway, okay, but because she got pregnant, that's foolish on multiple fronts. And again, how do you know that child's yours? But of course, he thinks the world of her, so he doesn't question. But something does make him question down the road. It says here, we're both ecstatic to take the next step in our lives and start a family together. Struggling through pregnancy complications, but eventually a baby girl is born, perfectly healthy. Life goes on. I get introduced to a new friend of my fiancé who makes a few concerning comments, but I brush it off. Weeks go by and the comments start getting me to ask, and I ask my fiancé, but she says she's just being cheeky. What kind of comment? And what is with the sirens? Can you guys hear the sirens? Some guys say they can, some guys say they can't. On and on, it's non-stop today. Yes, get the fuck out of here. Anyhow, I then decide to confront her next time I see her, and she comes close and whispers in my ear, she probably isn't yours, knowing her past. I'm shocked by the comments, but once again I decided it was better to judge my fiancé on her present behavior, not by her past, or a friend I barely knew who might just be jealous of what we have. Well, it could be a jealous friend, or who knows, but it doesn't make a difference what she's like in the present. Typically, if somebody has a past behavior tends to determine how they are in the present and the future. Generally speaking, a leopard doesn't change their spots, and once a cheater, always a cheater. Once a carousel rider, always a carousel rider. Another couple weeks go by, and I just have a gut feeling something is wrong. So I ended up taking 2 different DNA tests just to be certain they both come back 0% chance of paternity. I honestly felt like an empty shell in that moment and still feel very, very broken. No words can describe the pains that I felt like I got violated. This poor guy. But there you go, once again proving that it's pretty much a good idea these days to get a paternity test for you guys that are relationship guys or married guys. I mean, yeah, sure, it's an awkward thing, but good Lord, how many times do these stories come up, right? Well, at least he's not married to her yet. Over the next couple weeks, I consulted my dad and brother without telling my fiancée and came to the conclusion that it was best to just start over elsewhere. You're darn right. Now here's my question. Is his name on the birth certificate? I sure as hell hope not, but I'm going to guess probably. Got to take action to get that name off the birth certificate. But anyhow, he says, we came up with a plan to avoid as much damage on my end whilst also getting out as fast as possible. I booked her and her daughter a 2-week trip to give her some time to enjoy herself post-birth. In that time, I moved 90% all of my liquid assets and left my extra material items with my brother. After about 4 days no contact, she must have traveled back and found the papers on the kitchen counter. She talked to my dad and the rest of the family. That is hilarious. He booked her a trip. Go have a great time. I'll see you when you get back. Packed up all his shit and left. And left the papers pretty much letting her know what's going on. That's hilarious. This is a first for me to hear something like this. I started getting calls from all sorts of members of her side of the family and even a few people in my family insisting I should forgive her and maybe call off the engagement but stay in the child's life as mistakes happen. What do you mean forgive her? What do you mean, okay, maybe call it up and still stay in the child's life? That child is not yours. That's somebody else's child. End of story. It's not your responsibility. Okay? It sounds like to me that the baby, he said 10 months ago they got engaged, so the child's only been his in the picture, in the same apartment with him, only a couple months. And sure, he may have obviously built an attachment to the child, but still, it's not his responsibility. End of story. But of course, there are people out there are thinking it should be your responsibility. Bullshit. And that child doesn't know you. Come on here. It's a baby, for God's sakes. And mistakes happen. What do you mean mistakes happen? She didn't just magically get pregnant by Chad and Tyrone's hellspawn. Okay, she willingly did this and lied to him. But thank the Lord they're not married yet. He says, I'm currently in an Airbnb in a neighboring country, and the only people actively supporting that I uprooted my life are my dad and my brother. Am I the a-hole? Are you the a-hole? No, bro, you're a freaking hero. We ought to throw you a parade. That's awesome. She lied. She deceived you the whole time. She knew darn well there was a possibility this wasn't your child, but she didn't care. Probably because this guy was a sure thing, right? Think about it. Remember he said in the beginning she was bad financially? That's why she couldn't be in her other place before. And like a white knight and that nice guy, come live with me, I'll take care of you. Wrong. Big mistake. No good deed goes unpunished. And then she's pregnant, and of course he assumes it's his. And then of course, I'll marry you. More nice guy, white knight stuff. You need years to get to know someone before you ever consider doing anything like that. And of course, he's wondering now, is he the a-hole? Because everybody's giving him a hard time about that. This guy even went so far as leaving the country to get away from her. And so what this guy needs to do is simply tell everybody that has an issue with it, say, hey, number one, I'm 26. I'm a grown-ass man. It's none of your freaking business. Mind your own business. Stay the hell out of it. This isn't my child. She is no longer my fiancée. We're done. End of story. I move on. And anybody that has a problem with him, cut him off. It's a common theme in these stories, guys. People give him a hard time. You can't care. And in my opinion, he needs to just move on, end of story, get that name off the birth certificate, start again, and stop being so trusting. Stop being that white knight nice guy. And the next time he gets in a relationship, don't rush into things. Don't invite her to move in. Don't do all these things. Really get to know her. And if a girl gets pregnant, DNA test right away. Now, had some comments because they're always fun. And I got to tell you, I didn't see one comment of somebody giving him a hard time about this. So it goes to show you, thank the Lord, we got some sensible people out there. One guy says, not the a-hole. She tried to baby trap you with a child that wasn't even yours. She should be glad you didn't wreck her whole life and threw her cheating ass out instantly. Just desserts. Another guy says, not the a-hole. You are not the father. She lied to you and presumably wasn't going to tell you the child wasn't yours, ever. Considering you two were together for a while means she cheated on you. And once a cheater, always a cheater. She could have very well had a whole other boyfriend by now. I'm willing to bet you by now she has another dude on the side. And I guarantee you she probably has a darn good idea whose child this may be. But she obviously is smart enough to know Chad and Tyrone aren't going to be reliable providers. So she's with the nice guy who can provide. That's how these things work. Another one says, I'm going to go with not the a-hole. What did she expect? To play family and eventually it would come out but not matter? The longer the wait, the more damage it does to the father and the child. At this point, it is up to you. You are already bonded. So it's totally on your call to be in her life or not. Also, just to know if you are on the birth certificate, you have an illegal obligation to the child and it's very hard to get off. Even if it's proven you are not the biological father, you would be considered a legal father. If the biological father does not want anything to do with his daughter, courts usually do not like to take the fathers off the birth certificates if anyone does not step up. Yeah, talk about that slap in the face to guys. It can be proven not your child. DNA proving that. And the courts don't care because the state doesn't want to have to pay for it. Says here, this means she can come after you for child support, but at the exact same time, you also have the right to exercise legal rights to her, including custody. 50-50, I believe, makes it so you don't have to pay support. The most important thing is for them to find out who the child's father, because the baby girl deserves that much, at least. She may not want it now, but she's going to. Yeah, that girl's probably going to definitely want to know who her real father is. Even if he's a freaking lowlife that lives underneath a bridge, she's going to want to know who her real daddy is. The last one says, not the a-hole. She lied to you, cheated on you, trapped you, etc. Disentangling from this woman was the best thing you could do, and really doing the child a favor because she deserves to know who her actual father is. Though it's probable your ex might not even know who that is. Well, unless she's having many dudes, and I mean many dudes, I'm sure she has a pretty darn good idea which Chad and Tyrone sausage was in her making babies 9 months before. But anyhow, not the a-hole. Great story. This guy's a hero. We got to throw him a parade for that whole thing. Packing his shit. Sending her on, I love it. Send her on vacation. Go have a great time, honey. Packing the shit and getting the hell out of Dodge. They got to get that birth certificate. So go ahead, guys, moral of the story is don't rush into relationships. Don't be the white knight hero. Really get to know who she is before you even do anything like having her move in with you, etc., etc. It's unfortunate. It has to be that way, but it's proven every time in these stories I go over. And also, guys, DNA tests, paternity tests, more and more proving, because sadly, there's so many gals out there that do not care. And again, about the whole white knight thing. What happens to white knights? They get taken advantage of. You can't be that guy. Doesn't mean you go walk around being a jerk, starting trouble and all that, but just standing up for yourself, having a freaking brain to realize not everything is like the movies, and not all gals are sugar and spice and everything nice. Gotta watch out for yourself. All right, guys, that is it for today. It's a quick one, but I thought it'd be a pretty entertaining one to go over here. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let's hear it. Do you think the guy's an a-hole, or do you think he was well within his right? And what do you think about the whole sending her on vacation and packing up the shit? She was probably so excited to go on vacation, she's probably thinking, I can get all that sausage while I'm away, and he'll never know. She was probably more than happy to go on vacation, thinking, oh, you're so sweet, thank you. Meanwhile, he's like, ha, 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 you're never going to see me again, lady. And guys, if you've got a great story you'd like me to cover in the future, or a personal story, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time and I'll get to it when I can. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.